Hey everyone! I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shikha, and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing, commenting, all of that good stuff. In this one, I wanted to speak to you guys about, I think, a quirk that INFJs have in general. I would like to think it's in general because if I'm the only one who has this quirk, then I'm going to be very, very ashamed of it. But I've noticed, and this is kind of a small thing, but I've noticed that if there is an individual in front of me who is not particularly good at spelling or grammar, particularly spelling actually, I lose a lot of respect for them. I mean, of course, there are some people who are, who for whom English is a second language and they just they just started learning it or they're not very good at it because they didn't really focus on it that much because as I said English is a second language for them. So of course for them, I mean I'm impressed by the fact that they can even study a second language. But in general, if you are, if you're born or brought up in a Western country where English was the first language and you studied it from when you were in the womb, and you still are not able to figure out the basic essence of there and there, THEIR and THERE, or things like that, the your and you are, like the basics, literally the basics. If you can't figure that out, a lot of times I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I don't think I can be really good friends with you. Or if it's a date situation, or if it's a Tinder message that I used to do in the past, I don't do anymore. But if it's something like that where the person's or we're trying to impress each other in some way, or we're trying to, go on a date with each other, and the person kind of uses there instead of there, or you're instead of you are, and I'm thinking to myself, if you can't even manage the basics in that regard, I'm sorry, but there's no way in hell you're ever going to be able to intellectually stimulate me enough in order to interest me enough, right? Now, this might be just a bias in my head, of course, because I mean, grammar is not such an important thing. It shouldn't be, even though it is to me and to a lot of INFJs. I noticed that a lot of you, and I've said this before in a video previously, that a lot of you spend are not hours, but minutes crafting your messages, and some of them are extremely long and well crafted, very very articulate. And I know that I see a lot of INFJs editing their comments on YouTube several times because I'll see it and it shows me edited every single time. And a lot of you guys, you'll write a message and you'll edit it and you rewrite it and you rewrite it. And I know it because you've told me this before, and I know I do this as well. It's very important for us to communicate properly, and for us, communication, the basic essence of it, first of all, is proper grammar, proper spelling. I mean, with spelling check or spell check nowadays, I mean, if you don't have the right spelling, then obviously it's just laziness, and then that in itself is like a clue or a red flag for me. But I was kind of thinking about it previously. I have noticed, not about obviously the people whose English is their second language, but the people who are, born and brought up here. A lot of times, their English is actually not very good. And in fact, that a lot of their grammar and punctuation and all that stuff is subpar. And I'm not saying I'm an expert on this stuff, of course not. I use Grammarly to correct a lot of my grammar and my punctuation because a lot of times I end up using too many commas or too little or this and that. So I'm not saying I'm an absolute expert in it, but in a lot of cases I will, before I send a message, make sure that first of all, the spelling of the person's name is accurate as much as possible because it's one of the most important things, and also it's pretty easy to check. If it's an email address, usually then their name is in the email address, or is it in the email that they sent you. And I made a mistake once with it, and I was like, I berated myself, and I was like, oh, how could I do this person's name is this, and I said that. They did use 2 or 3 different names in the email, so that's what confused me, but I still was like, I should have known better. But that's the first thing, make sure that the person's name, I just make sure that that's spelled right. I mean, it's the easiest thing to do and the most important because it matters to that person. I'm sure everyone cares about their name, and it's an easy thing to do, as I said. The second thing, obviously, is spell check. I mean, I'm not saying to be a Nazi about it, like a grammar Nazi, but the basics, like just make sure that all of the spelling is accurate as much as possible because it's easy to do. Most systems nowadays, even the phones, will tell you if your spelling is wrong. It'll put a little red line underneath, and you can just click on it and correct it. Easy peasy. The last thing, though, I would say is that things like your and you are, or there and there, THEIR and THERE, and things like that. Little things where you're like, no, this is a very simple thing. Why are you doing this? Why are you using your when it's actually you are? Is it laziness, or do you actually not know that this is not supposed to be used accurately? And it's just an extra letter that you have to put in. So seriously, what are you doing here? And that is in itself, as I said, for me, it's a red flag of a sort, because I think to myself, if you're so lazy that you can't type in an extra word or two or a letter to, then what are we doing here? Why are we even bothering to talk to each other? In general, maybe I have very high standards for the people that I hang out with, and I know I do. But in general, if you're going to be lazy in the small things, then you're probably going to be lazy in the big things as well. And I just really am not the kind of person who wants to drag along a person with me and push them to do more things and to motivate them and inspire them. I have enough of that already, and I'm doing enough of that on this channel, obviously, but not, I'm just not interested to do that in my real life. I'll do it for my brother and sister, but no one else, because they don't deserve it, and most people don't take advantage of it properly. You might be doing it, rah, 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 hooray, you can do it, and you're motivating them or trying to make them, to inspire them, and all they do is like the next day they are blah again, and they want you to motivate them again, and I'm like, this is a waste of my time, a waste of my energy. I'm not interested. I've done this in the past, not interested anymore, right? And so as I said, I look at this little thing, spelling, grammar, as a red flag for, in general, that they might not be the kind of person who really cares about things as much as I care about them. And so in high probability that I will not be good friends with them, or I might end up being annoyed by them because of the fact that they're lazy or undisciplined or don't care or things like that. Now, maybe I should also add a video on laziness, because that's again another thing that really annoys me. But laziness in spelling, I think, or in grammar, but spelling particularly, is one of the things that really, as I said, completely irks me, but mystifies me as well, because as you guys know, it is one of the easiest things to correct. There are always signs. In Microsoft Word, obviously, there's ways you can tell. But if you're doing a message on Messenger, it tells you. If you're putting in a comment on a phone or a keyboard, or sorry, a Mac or a PC, again, they'll tell you if you made a mistake in your spelling. And so in general, I feel like if you are being lazy in that regard, then it's on you. It's your personality. You don't actually care about the little things. And for me, I really want people around me who care about the little things. I want people around me who care about everything as much as possible, the important things. And a lot of times we might care about the big things, but how often do you deal with big things in general? Like, we don't talk about, in general, what happens is that we end up dealing with a lot of little things, a lot of small things often, and one or two big things in our life, right? But in fact, what happens as a human being is that we kind of pay more attention to the big things, because they're like, oh, that's a big thing. It comes once in a lifetime or once every year, but we focus on that instead of being like, well, every single day I do this one thing, and I should be careful because it's important. It's something that I do every single day. So just because I do it every day doesn't mean I should be lazy about it. It's obviously important because I'm doing it every day. So I need to focus on it. And so for me, I really care to have people around me. And I think it's an INFJ thing as well, I believe. I'm just making up stuff here perhaps. But I noticed this trait in a lot of INFJs around me, where we care that the people around us care about the little things, because we care about the little things. And what happens is that when we only are the ones caring about the little things, that nothing gets done around us, or we're kind of scrambling around taking care of little things, whereas no one else gives a rat's ass about it, and they just kind of do a haphazard job of it, and we end up taking care of a lot of things where we're basically acting like nannies or mothers for a lot of the people around us. And I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. I did that enough in my youth, and it's enough. Enough is enough. I didn't have kids because of this exact same reason, and so I'm not going to do that for anyone around me. And so this is really important to me, and it's actually, obviously you can tell I'm getting a little bit irked by it just talking about it. It's important because it matters, because the little things matter more than the big things. And if you don't care about the little things, then if you want to get an INFJ's attention, then you're probably not going to end up getting it, especially if you do them terribly. If you don't care about the little things, then we're going to actually assume that you don't care about the big things either, or that you just don't care in general, or that you're lazy and undisciplined, and that in itself is a huge red flag for us. We're surrounded by so many people who are like that we're like, all right, enough. I don't want any more people like that in my life. or at least I'm like that. I'd love to hear from you guys with this in regard to this. Do you think that you are the same as me? Do you care about this stuff, or am I the only crazy one? I know I'm crazy, but I just want to know how crazy. In general, if you guys like the subject, or if you like the video, or if you have any questions on it, comment below and I shall get back to you as soon as possible. Again, thank you so much for supporting me. I really appreciate all the support, all the love that you have been sending my way, and I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.